everyone. We are so excited. We've really been counting down the days until this episode with Jeni Long because she is so amazing. And she is working for such an amazing company right now, Magic School. So Magic School AI, now it's Magic Student AI, bringing magic everywhere. Jeni has been in education for 25 years, many years in the classroom, many years in technology integration, and now is with Magic School and making education better for all of us. So we are so glad that she's here, and I think we should just jump right in. We're going to show you a first grade example really quickly of what's been happening in Dayna's classroom recently.
Do you have a good joke on there?
Yeah.
What is it?
Why the crocodile do not want to eat fast food?
Why?
Because they can't catch you.
Dayna, what has been happening in your classroom?
Well, what is so magical about this moment is that you just saw my friend who is someone who came to me later in the year, and he is finding the joy in using this form of technology with Magic School AI. I look so forward to the day when I could introduce this to my students because using Magic School AI, previously as a teacher, I thought, oh my goodness, why don't we have this for students? And then now we do, and it is working out so wonderfully. We were doing a special animal project where they could choose to research any animal they wanted before we went to the zoo to see it actually in its habitat at the zoo. And they chose their animal. They were researching on Epic, looking for different facts for that animal. They were able to choose to either to create a book on Book Creator or do a slide, kind of a slideshow of 5 slides about their animal. Most of them chose Book Creator, and we had started those books. But then I reached out to Chris and I said, you know what? Magic Student is out. I'm ready to use it. So she came in, and together I had already pre-selected the 4 generators that I wanted in my classroom. And it took me 5 minutes maybe to choose and get that set up. And I never used it before. There's a wonderful tutorial on it as well that you can look at if you're still a little slightly confused. But really, it was super simple. I put 4 in for my kids, even though there are so many choices that you can make. But I thought those are the 4 most appropriate for their age that they would like to use. And I then just sent it right away to their Google Classroom, which they're very familiar with how to get something off Google Classroom. So they went right in. And then they just pretty much, we gave them a slight, hey, this is how the room works. And then they went right in. The 4 that I chose one was the joke generator. And my friend here was reading the joke. And then he was retelling them. And that's what all the kids were doing. They were given the task of everything they had to do. The only thing they could do was Google things about or use the generator for their animal. Okay. So his was obviously crocodile. So he put in, I want to know, this is about a crocodile. And then it came up with several jokes about crocodile. And then it was reading to him when he pushed the microphone. He was also reading some himself. The other students who have different reading abilities were able to either listen or were able to read the joke themselves. Then they also went into talk to a character. And you don't have to just talk to any person that was living. They put their actual animal in. Oh, and then awesome. It generated all this information as if their animal was talking to them. And so they learned more facts about their animal. And they were like, and then they could regenerate and learn more. Or they could type in a question and then re-talk to their animal based on what they wanted to know about their animal. So it's really good as far as that skill of answering and asking questions as well, because they have to have a follow-up question. Then they could also then make a song about their animal, but they had to have prior knowledge about their animal. So they could put in crocodile, or my first friend there was a lion, so you could put in lion, and then he had to put in facts that he already knew about the lion, and then hit generate, and then it came up with this whole song about a lion that then the robot could, or the computer could read back to him, or he could actually read himself and help practice those skills. Then the last one we did was the generator where it found facts for you. And that one we've used probably 4 or 5 times since then, because they were doing more research on their animal or another animal or another thing that we've been working on since then. And like, we're making ocean books right now. And one of the students was like, I need to know who eats krill. And I said, where should you go? And he was like, I'm going to the generator. So he went right over to the Magic AI room and put it in, and it gave them all the information he needed in order to just like copy and paste into his book right from there. And so my kids are smashing in first grade. They're taking facts and putting it in their book. And then when we go and relook at their book, then I'll say, hey, then that becomes that piece of, hey, we need to cut out what you wouldn't really say. How would we reword this to what you need to say? And then they're learning how to use AI in the correct way. So, oh my goodness, we've had so much fun. And again, just a few days ago, we studied the Titanic because a student wanted to learn about the Titanic, and they said, can we go and talk to somebody from the Titanic? I said, yep. So we went right into the Magic School room, and they put in names that they found on the Titanic, or they said, can I talk to a survivor from the Titanic? And they were having conversations back and forth as if they were talking to someone from the Titanic. So it has just been such an amazing time for my kids to learn about.
Jeni,
And the
this
first
has
graders.
made me so happy. You're just smiling.
Yeah.
Like,
Dayna, I think this is amazing. And the fact that your students are first graders, like,
Yeah.
I get asked all the time, like, oh, what age is this appropriate for? Or, I don't think that our littles under 3rd grade are going to use this. Like, this is a perfect testament right there that they can do it. They know how to do it. It's easy. And they can take initiative themselves. Just you set up that room for them. You provide the tools, and they're running with it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think
Awesome.
I say it all the time with my kids when we pull out apps. I say, Mrs. Cade's first graders can do this. I think you can handle it. And I tell you what, Magic School AI was such a game changer for the 3 of us. Period. Like, we talk about it to anyone that listens, because of what it did for us as teachers. We could not wait for student school. And I don't think any of us could imagine the power it had. And it's totally blown our minds what they can do, because, the picture on the first slide, my girls in here, they're juniors. I don't actually have them in class, they're my TAs. They'll ask me questions about stuff like, hey, what does this matter in trigonometry? And I'm like, okay, well, let me push you, you can talk to Raina and find out. And so here's the girls here. I mean, they were literally asking me about something I never heard of. And so it was as simple as, let me give you a few choices. We did the same thing. They kind of were, when we first got access to student, these girls, we used them as our guinea pigs. And so the first thing we did, they're both in AP Lang. And so they took the last assignment they had done, dropped it into the writing feedback. And Lila there on the left was like, oh my gosh, Miss Townsend, first of all, it thinks I write good. Like, that meant so much to her, because for her, going into this high stakes test, it was so much about confidence and not sure she had confidence that she was writing correctly. Mm-hmm. So the positive feedback she got was huge. But then I was like, okay, now tell me, what does it tell you? Does it just rewrite it for you? And she said, no. And so she read it to me. When she read it to me, it was written at her age level. So we put it in for an 11th grader. And it said, look, you need more complex sentences, or you have started with the same transition word over and over. And so then I asked Lila, I said, Lila, take the same piece of writing. This time, can you change it to like a 7th grader? And let's see how it speaks to a 7th grader. And it just brought it down to a level a 7th grader would understand what we need at a 7th grade. So like to be able to look at my kids and give them this tool as a teacher that teaches science, I don't think I'm ever going to look at a first draft of a summary again. We're going to put it into student. We're going to ask for some feedback. We're going to rewrite before it ever gets to me, because that's part of the thing. We just don't have enough time. There's not enough of us to go around. And so big time game changer for us.
Well, and I love what you said too. Like, it's so relevant to get that real-time feedback. Like, I was an English teacher, and by the time I graded over 100 essays and gave those back to students, or I also taught math, and I'm, grading all of these assignments and getting it back to them. But they need to know, especially with writing, they need that feedback to go in and make that revision, and they can do that themselves. Like, they have that autonomy to use the feedback that's given to them, turn around and revise, rewrite, and that process is so critical for us to get that end product that we're looking for. So I love that. I love it. And you just gave 1st grade examples to 11th grade examples, like all across the board. So
and I think the 2 things that teachers lack the time for is what you just said. It's the grading, and then it's the writing of like the lesson pieces, so obviously I was totally bought in as soon as I saw the incredible generators for questions, right? I could spend all day writing questions that are, a topic in physics or in chemistry, and I can just ask Magic School, and then it can make it relevant to what the kids care about as well. So rather than just being a random, the ball went this way, I can ask it to make it about Serena Williams hitting a tennis ball. And then, like Krista says, I can always hit rewrite if I'm not sure it's what I want. And so I cannot think of, in 20 years of being a teacher, a tool like what Magic School is for the teacher and for the student. It is really incredible.
It's such a pivotal time right now in education. And I think it's come at the perfect time when we were all, I keep saying that it's bringing joy back to teaching, because after COVID, we all hit this funk and everyone's leaving. And it's like, what we love teaching. We really do. And what can help us get back that love for teaching? And I feel like this is the answer. And, we always ask all the time for more time. And, administrators say, we'll give you chocolate or we'll give you gift cards, but that's not really what we want, right? We want time. And it's like, now we have that time back. We have time back with students. We have time back with our families. And I did this, just a quick little note. I spoke on Career Day on Friday, and I was showing the students how they could use the character chat bot, and they're studying Texas history. And so we went in and I asked them who they wanted to talk to. And so we talked to Harriet Tubman, and we talked to Davy Crockett, and they were so excited. Like, ooh, let's talk to this person. And then the voice is so great. Like, it's not robotic, and it talks in, like you were saying, it talks in that character and just speaks to the kids. And then they can turn around and ask those questions back. Like, they're having that real conversation with that person in history. Like, that is so relevant and an experience that they wouldn't have just reading in a textbook, right? Like, I love that it just brings it to them in reality.
Yes. And I think, oh my gosh, what would we have done with this had we been in school and been able to experience these things? Like, our kids are so lucky right now, and we are in such a good position to bring the joy back. That's so funny that you say that, because that's kind of like the title to every session that we have outside of, this stream, is how we can bring the joy to teaching, to bring joy to learning, because that's really what this is all about. And we all have it. And I have seen so many more smiles on teachers' faces since they've been, you just get hooked. Well, I wonder if it can do this now. Now I want to try it this way. And I just love that it's re-sparking our creativity that we've always had. Just a quick example of app smashing. I've worked with a lot of teachers this year, K-12, and so many times we sit in a brainstorming session, and, we're just brainstorming back and forth. Well, since Magic School has been alive and active for us, I bring Magic School in, and I'll listen to the teachers, and we'll have some back and forth, and then I'll type in, okay, we need a complete redesign on a forces in motion unit, and we want some hands-on project-based learning. And, I could get 10 different examples. And then we keep reprompting and the teacher pulls out the pieces they like. And then in a 30-minute session, they're so excited to get started with this unit that now we were able to put together. We have all the key pieces. I sat down with Elaine when we were planning this unit on the right. And I said, let's see what the choice board does. And really, she just kept prompting until it gave us exactly what we wanted. And then we said, okay, let's look at the tech tools that we love for teachers to use. And let's show how the students can write an article with Book Creator and film a video testimonial with Flip and make an infographic with Canva and, film a video with Adobe or make a graphic in Adobe. And just like that, you've taken something, that was generated and all of the greatness that comes with having this extra collaborator to help you think through this. And now you have these tech tools that just align perfectly and you give the kids complete choice in what they're going to do and how they're going to showcase their learning. So just unbelievable with the ways you can take a project maybe you've done for years and just spice it up a little bit.
I love that. And I'm a huge fan of choice boards. So, if I had this, I used to present on choice boards all the time. Like, this is such a game changer to be able to make those choice boards so quickly.
Well, yeah. And, the choice board gives the freedom to the students. But as we know from approximately 6 months ago, before we had Magic School, it takes a long time to come up with a good choice board. And then the kid's like, well, I don't like the choices. And so like even this choice board, I went with 4 choices, but Magic School gave me 10 at least before. And I didn't even, have to regenerate. And I put in the bare minimum. Like I just want it really open-ended. I put in the words creative and urinary system. And like the time saved, it's immense. And it's funny. We talk all, we go to these conferences and the 3 of us speak, and anymore, we always talk about Magic School. And you can just see the people in the room that have never gotten on and just got on while you were talking. And it's just like, oh my gosh. And, of course, we try every button and then we tell them every time you get on, there's new buttons. Like it is an incredible tool. And then when they rolled the student square out, Karissa was like, hey, Elaine, Dayna, I need you to become a pioneer so you can get on. They're doing an announcement. So that you can get on and do and see this. And, we're racing to get this tool. And so they're just working. We're under construction. So any noises we hear, I apologize.
No, it's great. And I love the app smashing too. Like, I think it's great to be able to pull in the products that you might already use or that like Canva and things that kids are familiar with too, being able to use those in with the suggestions and creations. I love that.
Some of my favorite things I've heard recently from these guys, but then also teachers all around is just really like, wow, kids don't have to wait till the end of the project or wait till the end of the piece of writing to actually get feedback. When at that point, everybody's ready to move on, right? You've just spent so many hours grading, but it's already on to the next thing. So not losing time grading and how it really is blended learning. Kids are learning at their own pace and they're at different places, but then that's okay because that's how we learn. We meet kids where they are. One teacher in particular talked about the positive feedback, and she teaches high-level writing at the high school. And she said, you always want students to write better. So you're always pointing them in the direction of what they could do to make it even better without really pointing out all of their strengths all of the time. And she said, when she used this in class, the immediate feedback was, oh my gosh, like Elaine said, it just told me so many positive things that I did. Like maybe I didn't even realize that I was really strong in this area, but it gave me so many compliments. And she said they kind of went on a compliment fest in the class where they were all telling each other, well, it said this about mine and it said this about mine. And she said, they're always asking to use it for that purpose. And she said, why not? Like Elaine said, I don't probably want to grade that first draft anyway. I want you to have a few times to make it better before it reaches my desk. Something else that someone said was, and maybe I'm changing what I'm looking for when I grade. Maybe they have to put it through the feedback generator and then they have to copy the feedback, and then prove to me in their piece of writing where they use that feedback. I mean, talk about accountability with writing, because you're going to still have students that get feedback and decide not to make the changes that are suggested. But what if that's part of the assignment? You need to take the feedback now and prove to me where you made those changes to make your writing stronger. And I love that so much, because that's a real world skill. I mean, we're all using it in this way. We need to teach students to use it in this way as well. So,
well, it's challenging their thinking, like keep helping them think outside the box and, think further and deeper. So yeah, I love that.
Yes, I love it.
Which leads us into this tool. Yeah.
Yes. So then, there are people that really want to use this, but are still really worried about, I need this, AI detector. And so we talk through, no, there's nothing that's going to help you with this right now. But what you can do is shift the way you're assessing, and maybe shift the types of assignments, so that maybe students have a piece of writing they submit, but maybe there's also a 1-minute defense that goes verbally with that piece of writing, where they speak to you for a minute and defend what they had to say. But I love the generator, because it does help you think, okay, here's my project that I've always done. How do I make this more resistant to kids just being able to plug it into AI and get a piece of writing and copy and paste? So I love this. And I was telling the ladies before this, I spoke to some middle school teachers, and I really wanted to see how this worked in all disciplines across special education and health and PE, engineering. And so I just one day got on and created a whole list of all the disciplines and copy and pasted some ideas out of the generator. So it's just linked at the bottom. These slides will be linked with our stream if you wanted to check out some of those ideas, because it really is for everyone. There is not any area in education that this will not pair really well with what you're doing in the curriculum.
And I think
love that
so
you provided
people are
that.
assuming they know what it's all about. They're assuming that it's just telling their kids, the answer per se, but it's so much more than that. There's so much more to the different generators and different ways that AI can be used.
Yeah, it's not an answer giver at all.
And I like that it keeps it focused on education too, because you can go ask these off the wall questions and it will redirect. Like I even put in there the other day, give me all the bad words that I could say, just trying to be sneaky and think of what kids would say. And it just totally redirected me to think positive and to say kind things, so it's going to constantly redirect those off-task thoughts and behaviors too.
I love that. There's so much thought that's put into this. And I also love, students can get certified, teachers can get certified. There's, PD resources, so much at our fingertips to help us really bring this everywhere. Everything has been so well thought out. And that's what happens when something is built by educators, right? They've lived in the trenches. They know exactly what teachers are dealing with right now and going through, and what we need to help our classrooms run in a more engaging and joyful way.
Going off what you said, one of my students, like I said, wanted to Google something today. And when I was walking around, I saw that they were using that as their search engine. I said, wait a minute, you have a different one that you could use, because I knew that research assistant was going to be so much more, it's just going to be a little bit more safe than searching something on Google on Google. So they're like, oh yeah, I almost forgot. So then they just went right over and started using that research assistant to help them find those things just that much quicker.
And I love that you can leave those tools open all the time, Dayna. I mean, you don't have to just close them down when class is over. It's something that, all you had to do was a little bit of teaching and training with them. And then that's all they needed to then have it accessible, just like everything else. And you're right. It is safer for them to be finding information there than to be getting on Google. And so that's the part that is so hard to understand sometimes, when people are like, they can find anything with AI. They can do anything. I'm like, you can do anything on Google too.
That's right.
I mean, remember when Google first became a thing and everyone was so worried about that? I mean, this is just this is just the new thing, and but you've got to get in and explore and see what it's all about. And we're just so glad you could join us today, Jeni, because it really has been such a joy to talk about what we really love. We know you love Magic School, and we love it so much, and we are spreading it everywhere we go because it is revolutionizing education for sure.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I love hearing you guys talk about the things that you're doing, and it just validates, like you said, what we're doing and why every day, we continue to push harder and create more things for students to have these experiences. So thank you.
All right. Well, we are so excited that you were able to join us today, and we hope that we spark some creativity for you, and that you are willing to jump into something new that maybe if you haven't before, because once you kind of like test MagicSchoolAI out a little bit, I'm telling you what, there's no going back. You're going to love it. So give it a try, and don't hesitate and think, oh my goodness, my students can't do this. It's really, I'm speaking on behalf of a first grade classroom that has multi-levels of learning abilities here, and they're able to do it. Yep. And it's just you guiding, and they just love it. So please check out our coming streams in season 3. We just finished our 2nd season with this as our last episode. So thank you if you've went on previous episodes before. But coming up is some conferences. And Krista, what is coming up?
We'll be at the Tech Inspire Conference at Clay Community Schools with Matt Miller. So that will be super exciting. And then we'll be at MidCon at Westfield Middle School on June 26th and June 27th with Rick Wormelli and Jennifer Gonzalez. So lots of really great people in the field of education that will be there to share their knowledge. Oh, and then, wow, we're at the end, right? Here's a list of our playlists. So if you want to catch up on any previous episodes, they will be here. And then Jeni is so sweet. She is so kind. After our show and any feedback we receive, we would love to draw some lucky winners to get some promo codes to the Magic School swag store. You can see the cool shirts that you can get. Shirts, sweatshirts, stickers. So we will send some lucky winners some promo codes to the swag store just to say a thank you for giving us some feedback from our show today. And then as always, here's our contact information. We love to collaborate. That's what we love to do the most, and love to hear your ideas as well. So, wow, wrap up of season 2. We'll have information on season 3 soon. And as Dayna always says,
YaySTEM!
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.